Is Bartles? No Bartles.
Today we visit one of the most historic pavement tracks in the entire United States of America. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to JSRL Spike Chassis Sprint Car Series round number 5 of the 2017 season. Here for the second annual Turkey Day Grand Prix here at the Irwindale Speedway. I'm Ryan Kent Jr. Brett Strickler along with Mr. K.R. Stolfus as our pit reporter. But guys, and Brett, I'll start with you. We leave Eldora Speedway last week and saw Bo Brunig pick up his second win, and he's not doing as hot right now. He's currently sitting 7th through our practice sessions, but there's a lot of storylines to watch here as we get set to go qualifying here shortly enough.
Yeah, Ryan, looking forward to getting going tonight here on the asphalt at Irwindale Speedway, and we're about ready to take on qualifying, but Brunig here, definitely coming off his second win of the season. Both wins came on dirt, so maybe his asphalt game needs to be stepped up a little bit.
If you weren't with us last week, Bo Brunig did also take the points lead, leaving the Eldora Speedway. So we'll go from practice into single car qualifying. First car to make his way out to the Speedway. He currently sits 9th in the series point standings, 282 points back from the lead. In car number 9 from Rochester, New York, the Loco Toco Designs Core Life Eatery Guitars for Glory. Number 9 of Alex Oriens. Well, hold on here momentarily.
Little bit of a mix-up here, Ryan. We got single car qualifying for the first time on hand tonight with the JSRL Spike Chassis Sprint Car Series, and looks like we do have a car rolling onto the speedway.
So now Alex Oriens will head out the speedway in his machine, car number 9 machine from Rochester, New York. He's been pretty good so far this season, running on a part-time basis. His first lap as he comes across the stripe bin in a 15.998. His fastest practice time was a 15.859. Here he comes across the stripe for lap number 2. Going to be a little bit faster and is a little bit slower, though, than on his practice run, a 15.874, Brett Strickler.
On the track now, driving the number 50, Bruce Brunig. We hit on Bruce. He has 2 wins this season in that Bass Pro Shops number 50 car, both coming on dirt at Eldora and USA. As he completes his first lap, will come in second quick, 16.334, 16.334 for the first lap of Bo Brunig. Full contact with the outside retaining wall on the exit of 2. That lap time for him might not count there, Ryan. And indeed it doesn't.
So unfortunately for Brunig, his best time is 16.334. That's the slowest lap we've seen turn so far today. Next up on the speedway, the 7-time series champion in car number 72. He's from Sophia, North Carolina. The Hoosier Racing Tire Spike Chassis Guest Performance Parts number 72. A 7-time series champion Ray Farlow. His first lap goes P2 on the board, 16.160, 16.160 on a lap number 1. He'll rock and roll through turn 3 and 4. Put those right side tires just underneath those white lines. And on lap number 2, a little bit faster. He'll still be second quick at 15.944 for Ray Farlow.
Coming out of turn 4 right now, driving the number 46, my apologies. That sharp-looking black and yellow Livestrong car out of St. Petersburg, Florida, is Ron Quinzel. Ron Quinzel out of St. Petersburg, Florida. First lap time for the 46 comes across third quick with a 16.081, 16.081. Third quick for the number 46 of Ron Quinzel. Coming around, looking to make the second lap time better. He does by a little bit with a 16.025, 16.025. Still third quick so far.
Alex Oriens is your leader to 15.874. Here's your fifth qualifier so far tonight. Ended up fourth in our practice. In the car, 17, that red 17 machine. From Piscataway, New Jersey, the Advanced Auto Parts machine. Here's Jim Vig. His first lap time, still in the 16-second bracket, a 16.040, 16.040 for Jim Vig. Comes in tonight 14 points back from the lead in fourth place in our JSRL Spike Chassis Sprint Car Series point standings. His second lap moves up a spot. In the third momentarily, a 15.970, 15.970 for Jim Vig. Seeds him third quickest right now, Brett.
On the track right now, your winner from the opening race with the JSRL Spike Chassis Sprint Car Series on October 16th, 2017 at Lucas Oil Speedway is Dan Smith in that number 47 machine as he comes across the stripe for his first lap time. And that is quick time! Quick time for the number 47 of Dan Smith at a 15.868, 15.868. Fastest so far through qualifying. At Sam Pierce Chevrolet, RE Enterprises, Evan Jackson Racing Engines, AP Driver Development, J-Skin Spike Chassis car is on a rail as he sets quick time once more with a 15.732, 15.732. Fastest so far for the number 47 of Dan Smith.
Here's our seventh qualifier now set to hit the speedway. In car number 83, he pilots the Schmidt-Beer Chevrolet Spike Chassis. Number 83 from Califan, New Jersey. Here's Dan Holmes. His first lap on the clock, a 16.424. Seventh quick of 7 qualifiers so far. 10 guys set to take time here tonight. His second lap picking a little bit of a lower line here around Irwindale. He'll come across the stripe this time by. He does go up one spot on the grid, up to 6th quick at a 16.051 for Dan Holmes.
On the track now, out of Joliet, Illinois, driving the SIK Schoenfield Wildwood Steel Performance MPD Racing Autometer BMRS High Performance Lubricants number 19. This is Bill Guess. Lap 1 for Bill Guess comes in at 7th quick with a 16.100, 16.100. 7th quick out of 8 drivers so far for the number 19 of Bill Guess. Bill Guess looking to make lap number 2 better. Comes across the stripe. Lap number 1 will be better for the number 19 of Bill Guess with a 16.1. Lap 2 came in at 16.128.
Up next on the stopwatch from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, he pilots the Dissolve Alloy number 7. Here's Bruce Jones. Bruce Jones in almost what looks like a Craig Delansky style paint scheme here today. On lap number 1, comes across an 8th quick, a 16.279, 16.279 for Bruce Jones, and that Dissolve Alloy number 7. His second lap off of turn number 4, and he'll go quicker on lap number 2, a 16.088, 16.088, 7th quick there for Bruce Jones. Our final qualifier set to the speedway here, Brett.
On the speedway right now in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, driving the Spike Chassis double clutch, J-Skins Racing Graphics number 12. This is Jason Brown. Jason Brown, first lap comes in at 8th quick with a 16.094, 16.094. Last qualifier on the speedway right now as he rockets into turns 3 and 4. Looking to improve his time. Will lap 2 be better in the J-Skins Racing Graphics car? It is barely enough to get him another spot with a 16.073, 16.073. That is 7th quick for the number 12 of Jason Brown.
Let's have a quick word here with our quick time qualifier here tonight, Mr. Dan Smith. He even bettered his practice time, which is sometimes a little bit of a harder thing to do. But take a whole lot of fuel out of the son of a gun, and Dan Smith, you end up at the top of the board. Congratulations, man.
Hey, thanks, man. That was with a full 28-gallon, man. We very rarely ever take fuel out of these pavement cars. They just don't like that weight. But, yeah, you didn't think I showed you everything in practice, did you?
Surely not so. Hopefully you didn't show everybody else a little bit of anything either. But Brett Strickler was pretty excited. He even pulled out his best Johnny Gibson impression for you. But you've been pretty good on the pavement throughout this entire season and picked up a win at IRP, had some strong runs. You want to bounce back from Texas with a good run here in California.
Definitely, man, definitely. That deal with me and Jason last time, that was just a racing deal. That was due to some old rules that we used to have in JSRL, and I confused myself. That was all on me, man. But, yeah, we're set up and ready to go for 100 laps here. Fuel's going to be close. It's going to be an issue, man. So, going to be a lot of drama for you guys to cover in this feature here.
Thanks, Dan. Good luck with the feature event.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, Dan, before we miss you here, I'd just like to say that was a really poor Johnny Gibson impersonation, but I tried my best for you.
Did you go quick time?
Maybe a little less emphatic, but I tried my best.
Hey, I was in the booth, and I hung my head in shame over his quick time.
All right, man. I'll check it out afterwards. Hey, man. Hey, good luck with the broadcast tonight, guys, and hopefully we'll be talking to you from Victory Lane after this, man, in this St. Pierce Chevrolet 47U.
Thanks, man. Good luck to you. Now in the booth with us, it looks like we have the number 9, Alex Orions. Orions was second quick tonight with a 15.874, a little over a tenth slower from quick time Dan Smith. My apologies, Orions. How you feeling tonight?
Feeling pretty good right now. The car's definitely pretty quick. I'm surprised we got that second place. I know Ray's been fast too all day, but we had a good race in the qualifying race earlier with the extra weight, and I think we can carry that momentum forward.
Yeah, we're hoping to see a good run out of you tonight. But first and foremost, we got to do a little bit of name clearing up here. We got Orion's Bell, Orions, I believe. Can you just lend us guys in the booth a little bit of a hand here? We like to pick on each other a little bit.
It's definitely going to be Orions.
Glad you cleared that up for us. Like KR's down here messing with us, calling, don't call me Oreo, Alex Orions.
Yeah, he likes to have a lot of fun. He's always fun in the booth.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, looks like you're going to be lining up on the front row for tonight's heat race. You got anything for that number 47 machine?
I don't know. We'll have to see. It's definitely a long race, like you said. Anything can happen in those 100 laps, so we're just going to have to keep it clean and hope we're around there at the end and see what we can do then.
Couldn't have said it better, Ryan. Oh, my. I have a little bit of a name buffer all night long. I apologize. That is the number 9, Alex Orions, with you tonight. Good luck, Alex. We're looking to see you put on a show in that number 9 machine.
Thank you. We'll hopefully talk to you here in a bit.
All right, up next is the most waited, most anticipated interview of the night. I will be interviewing Ray Farlow. Mr. Farlow, you have currently qualified in 3rd. Tell us, how do you plan to make your way to the front and lead this thing from flag to flag?
Oh, I don't know about leading flag to flag. It's just 100 laps a long ways. It's just a matter of being patient and being there at the end.
Now, one of the things that my co-booth mates have not asked is the question of fuel. This is a 100-lap race. So how do you feel on the fuel level of this race?
I think we'll be all right.
All right. So if it goes green flag all the way, you still feel fine? Or are you looking for a caution or two to make sure you make it without a pit stop?
Yeah, I don't think fuel's going to be an issue. We can run it. We can run 100 laps.
The old 7-time champ not letting go of any of his secrets there, KR.
That's all right. Ray's very tight-lipped about a lot of things, especially about the fact... Well, I won't talk about that, but I fell down some stairs.
I hope it goes flag to flag.
So anyways, Mr. Farlow, nice job finishing 3rd in the qualifying session. That'll put you on the inside lane. Would you rather have the inside or the outside?
Yeah, I'd rather have the outside, but I think we'll be all right.
Alrighty, well, thank you, Mr. Farlow, for your time. And guys, I'll tell you what, with that, we will go ahead and jump into our last season highlight reel. Anything you guys want to add real quick?
Looking forward to another exciting asphalt race. The first 2 races have proven to be something very, very good to watch. So maybe we'll be in for another treat tonight.
All right, so sounds good. It looks like I was mistaken. We're not going into a highlight reel. We're going straight into the race as these guys are starting to take the grid already.
So your lineup for this 100-lap main event here at Irwindale. These guys, as we mentioned, in sprint car, set to go 100 laps. Going to throw a couple of different things at them, and know that as those tires start to wear away and the fuel wears away, the car will be 100% different from the start of the race to the beginning. Starting the pole in car 47 will be the machine of Dan Smith, and to his outside in car number 9 will be Alex Oriens. On the inside of row number 2, starting third, the 7-time series champs Ray Farlow. To his outside in the 17 machine will be Jim Vig. On the inside of row 3 in the 46 machine will be Ron Quinzel. And to his outside in the 83 car will be Dan Holmes. On the inside of row 4 in the 12 will be Jason Brown. To his outside in car number 7, Bruce Jones. And your 5th and final row on the inside in car number 19 will be Bill Guess. Into his outside. And the 50 car, Bo Brunig. So your current series points leader starts 10th here in your main event.
Ryan, I'd like to go ahead and point out that through 4 JSRL races so far, we still have Bruce Jones as the only driver to have a top 5 in every event. And right now, he's starting outside the top 5 in his heat race. So he has his work cut out for him.
Man, I'll tell you what, I'd be looking for Dan Smith to lead these early laps and get this job done early. And here we go. Green flag is out. Dan Smith does jump out to a quick and early lead as we are on lap 1 of 100 of this event. This is the Turkey Day Grand Prix, and your lead, your opening lap looks to be led by Dan Smith.
He has him currently covered, his time across the stripe. To give you an idea, the difference between qualifying and the race, your quick time tonight at 15.732, the first lap of the race at 18.121. Right now, Dan Smith all alone out front, 0.8 of a second the last time by, and now more than a second lead. Ray Farlow sits in second, Quinzel third, Oriens fourth, and Jim Vig rounding out your top 5 right now. Good battle starting to go on for the 3rd place spot between Ron Quinzel and Alex Oriens. In terms of your point standings coming into tonight, we've talked about Bo Brunig. He's sitting back there as he started in the 10th spot. Bruce Jones, 2nd place runner, 3 spots ahead of him in 7th. Ray Farlow, the 7-time series champion, currently runs in 2nd, 1.5 seconds behind your leader in Dan Smith.
Tell you what, Ryan, that number 47 machine is on a rail right now.
I tell you what, I was in some pre-race conversations with Dan, especially when they ran the qualifier series, and he was very excited about his setup. He let me know that he had some trick components on his car tonight that we're not allowed to talk about.
Looks like we're going to need to send our pit reporter down there to tech him.
Yes, I could tech him, but all they gave me was a hammer, and the last time I used my tech tool, which was a hammer, the driver didn't show back up next week. Alright, so now we're looking at a good group of cars here. That is the 46, and Ron Quinzel is leading. Alex, don't call me Oreo. Jim Vig and Jason Brown followed by Bruce Jones. These guys are all fighting it out here. Kind of single file, but man, you could toss a blanket over all of them.
Forget the blanket, stuff them all in one of those old-fashioned knapsacks, and we'll have at it. Ray Farlow currently just about 2 seconds back. Ron Quinzel 3.1 seconds behind. Man, oh man, Dan Smith just continues to pull away. And those of you that are active in terms of social media know that if you watch the King of the Wing sprint car race from Irwindale this last weekend, that you know that if you try to ride around the bottom, it's much tougher on your tires, as one Davey Hamilton Jr. found out. Right now, Dan Smith's pretty much hugging the wall, kind of like an IRP, just railing on the top side of the speedway, fellas.
Got to make you wonder if Dan's using a little bit too much of that car early on. That's a pretty hefty lead for only being 13 laps into the race.
Wow, as we go on board with Dan Smith right now, he is literally as close to the wall as I feel is comfortable this early in the race. He might start pushing it a little bit closer as the race wears on, but man, he's not got much room to make a mistake as high as he's running.
Maybe you've seen a guy named Kyle Larson do something similar like that. Dan's actually, you can see him right now, get up there right next to the wall. He's pretty much got those left side tires rolling right on the entry to the corner through those white lines. Just steady with the wheel, barely to the left, and then brings it back to center. A 2.3 second lead right now for Dan Smith. He dominated everyone at IRP, Lucas Oil Raceway, back what would be now 6 weeks ago. And he's leading out front here by 2.5 seconds here at Irwindale.
Here you can go on forward with the number 72 of Ray Farlow and see just how big that lead really is. Get a quick view of what a 2.5 second lead looks like. And by the looks of it, it looks like it's not going to close anytime soon, as Dan is on a rail and he is showing that he is the class of the field tonight.
Alright guys, down here in the pits, I can tell you some of the guys have talked about maybe a pit stop when the halfway point hits. Some of them have talked about maybe before. So if we get a yellow somewhere around the halfway point of this lap of this race, as we're currently on lap 20 of 100, be looking for some cars to hit pit road, get some fresh tires. Although I don't think anyone will be adding fuel, but these tires getting added in will be an interesting strategy call.
I'll tell you what, guys, up here sitting in the booth earlier today, I had a chance to take one of these sprint cars out on Irwindale Speedway. Yeah, I've mentioned before how I have a dirt background, and this whole asphalt ball game is a totally different story, and I have a newfound respect for some of these guys. And I'll tell you what, right now I respect the living blank, if you will, out of Dan Smith, because this guy is just shown to be incredibly fast on asphalt.
Take a look there at Bruce Jones, Bill Guess not far behind Tim, as is Jim Vig. Bruce currently sitting in that 5th spot. Bill Guess getting a little antsy there, making him kind of moved into the top 5. Only driver this season to finish inside the top 5 in all of our main events so far this year. Everybody in a pretty similar line there up towards the top side of the speedway. KR, you talked about tires. It'd be interesting if there was a yellow. See quite a few guys maybe take fuel. Maybe you take just one side only.
We didn't talk about it, but Jason Brown came out on one of the turns, had a big wiggle, and you know, the more this fuel burns off in these cars, the lighter they're going to get in the back end, the looser they're going to become, and the more the tires are going to get ate up. And these guys are going to really start thinking about some tires as we do get closer to that halfway point. I mean, we're on lap 30 of 100 right now, and I'm watching Jason Brown. I don't know if he's just hanging out in the back or what, but I do know he's teammates with Dan Smith. And, you know, we got the tale of two cars here. Dan Smith's leading this thing by almost 4 seconds, and Jason Brown's in 9th place, almost 10 seconds behind him.
Meanwhile, your battle for the second spot, Ray Farlow and Alex Oriens, starting to heat up a little bit here. Alex Oriens using the bottom side of the speedway. Maybe we'll see a guy go to the bottom and try to see what he can do down there and hope and pray that he can get a yellow flag. Here comes Oriens back to the inside of the speedway.
Kind of curious here, Ryan, to see if Farlow doesn't want to battle too much here with this being such a long race and doesn't want to use up his car, doesn't want to take any early risks. But Oriens is definitely driving that car in deep into the corners, trying to take the second place away from Farlow.
That 9 machine of Alex Oriens, still 4.8 seconds back from your lead. That's another thing to talk about. Dan Smith's lead continually grows on these two as they do battle side by side, this time by the stripe. Give the spot to Alex Oriens, but now a 5-second lead for Dan Smith out front.
And on a side note, Bruce Jones has managed to make his way into the top 5. He's now currently 4th, followed by William Guess. These guys have been going at it just as much as anyone else here in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th place.
I'm glad you mentioned Bruce there, KR. He's our biggest mover right now in the race, as well as William Guess. They both move, oh no, my apology. Yeah, they both move 4 positions. Bruce starting 8th and Guess starting 9th. Both have advanced 4 positions to 4th and 5th, respectively. And, you know, we just saw a little bit of action for the second place position. Maybe Bruce might have something for Farlow up his sleeve.
It would not surprise me if Bruce quietly, calmly works his way up into the fight for 2nd and 3rd place. He's kind of one of those drivers who you can easily forget about. His laps are so clean, so consistent. He takes care of his equipment, but when it comes down to the end of the race, he'll surprise you and he'll be there.
And of course, these guys can always come in and test as much as they want to, take advantage of the qualifier series. Guys like Dan Smith and those that are competing for a championship can spend a lot of time turning just lap after lap after lap. And guys, they can go out and they can try to run, you know, 100 laps at a time, or maybe even and just try out, you know, going under a caution type of pace and seeing how the fuel wears off in their tires and seeing just what works for them and how they can later on in the race try to drive that car to the front.
Yes, as we go on board with Alex, we're looking out the back of his car at Ray Farlow, and you can see Alex is just about a half a lane lower than Ray. Little bit of a wiggle there coming out of turn 2, but still consistently about half a lane lower than Ray Farlow. And you know, one of the things that iRacing has is the track where, as more and more laps are turned on this track, in the same spot, that track loses grip. So before too long, these guys are going to start looking for grip in other places outside of that highline.
Guys, I got to be honest. I'm incredibly impressed by I'm incredibly impressed by that number 47 machine right now, fellas. That man is on a mission.
I'll tell you what, Dan Smith is very, very active in this league. He enjoys this league. He puts a lot of effort into it. And when you put him on a pavement track, he is going to do everything he can to win this race and lead every single lap. If he can't lead every lap, he is disappointed and lets everyone know about it. as we look at previous laps, Dan Smith has a previous lap of a 16.391, but Alex, don't call me Oreo, is at a 16.386. So a little bit of give and take there. Maybe Alex can start closing the gap on him, maybe not, but we're going to be watching this one because it is for sure Dan's race right now.
Something else to note, guys, Bo Bruning moved into that 9th spot. Jason Brown back to 10th. Jason's last time by was a 12-second difference between him and your leader and Dan Smith.
William Guess has managed to get around Bruce Jones as well. Not too far ahead of him, but go ahead and put William Guess in the 4th spot. Bruce Jones still in the top 5. Ron Quinzel with a little bit of a gap back from Bruce, but he is solidly in 6th place. Jim Vig currently in 7th and has a little bit of a challenge by Dan Holmes in the 83 sitting in 8th place.
About a lap and a half ago there, KR, we just crossed halfway for tonight's 100 lap event. We are currently, Dan Smith currently just rolled into lap 52. A little over halfway for tonight's event, and Dan Smith, as impressive as he is, holds a 6.2 second advantage.
Dan does have quite the lead on the field here, 6.2 seconds, and we're turning 16-second lap times. Holy cow, that means before too long he's going to be in lap traffic. And that might start changing things, change the dynamic of this event. As we watch Dan Holmes get down underneath Bo Bruning. Oh, I'm sorry, I have it backwards. Bo Bruning is working the outside. He has found something. He is charging. He is challenging Dan Holmes and Jim Vig. Bo Bruning here with a mid-race charge. We're going to ride on board here with Bo Bruning. Sorry, Dan Holmes. I apologize. Dan is working the inside lane here, working it as hard as he can, trying to hold off Bo Bruning and Jim Vig, and it is quite the battle between these two.
Looks like Jason, or rather, looks like Dan there needs to throw a tear off. Jeez.
Some of these guys, as we're now on board with Jason Brown, these guys are 2 wide, 4 deep. Bo Bruning is currently dropped back behind him. Bo had that big charge, and then it looks like he lost some ground. But things have heated up here at the back of the pack. Let it be said that even 58 into this race, 58 laps into this race out of 100, these guys are not giving up, even at the back.
I think a little timer in Jason's head might have went off, and it might be go time, as he might be able to see Dan Smith closing in up on him, or rather, it might sense Dan closing in up on him. His teammates, they probably know each other pretty well, and if Jason knows anything about Dan tonight, Dan is on a mission, and he is closing into the back of the field fast.
He sure is.
So Jason Brown is about running this thing dirt track style, getting sideways, getting into the corner and everything else, running below the white line. And just as I say that, of course, he does go up higher on the speedway. Guy's searching for grip right now.
We are getting into the mid to late rate. Oh my goodness, mid to late stages of this race. These guys are starting to feel the effects of the fuel burning off, the tires wearing out, and the track itself losing grip in the main groove. But I'll tell you what, who has not lost any grip, has not lost any focus, is Dan Smith, as he is closing in on this back of the pack, getting ready to start working through lap traffic.
Yeah, we got one big battle shaping up for second right now, as Farlow has once again closed the gap on Alex Orions, as well as your 9th place starter, William Guess, is up to 4th and closing on that tail tank of the 72 of Ray Farlow.
William Guess is definitely there. He is definitely keeping Ray Farlow honest. Ray is busy keeping Alex honest. It's just going to be a question of who is going to figure out what to do with these tires worn out, this fuel load burning off. things are starting to heat up here as we get into these later stages. Bruce Jones, meanwhile, is just kind of sitting pretty, sitting there in 5th spot, all by himself in an island, essentially. No cars around him. Lots of time between the cars in front of him, the cars behind him. Just turning laps, so he is definitely looking for the long haul on this thing. Not challenging anyone. Meanwhile, Ron Quinzel and Dan Holmes are fighting it out. These guys were fighting earlier, along with Jim Vig and Jason Brown, but some separation has happened between Ron Quinzel and Dan Holmes. Dan Holmes diving to the inside there.
I'll tell you what, fellas, don't look now, but your leader, the 47, Dan Smith, has caught the tail end of the field, and he has a 3-car battle right in front of him between the cars of Jason Brown, Bro Brunig, and Jim Vig. Dan's going to have to weasel his way through these cars if he wants to maintain that big lead, or maybe lay off a little bit since he has such a huge gap.
Whoa, big time wiggle and problem there for Bill Guess. He got way wickedly sideways here on lap number 69. Working off of turn number 2, and he's going to lose a couple of spots now.
The yellow flag is out.
All right, we have a yellow out.
Yellow.
It looks
like
Jim
2 cars involved.
We're going to go to instant replay here.
Looks like maybe Dan Smith was putting laps down on Jason Brown and Jim Vig, and Jim Vig was the short end of the stick there as Jason went a lap down, but Jim looks like he went around on the exit of 4. What do you got down there, KR?
We're watching Jim Vig here as he goes through the corner. Not sure what's happening yet. Possibly catching up to it as I learn how to operate this replay system. No, it was... Sorry. I totally missed it because I don't know what I'm doing.
I do believe it was Jim Vig. He started in 4th tonight. He's currently shown 2 laps down, soon to be 3. And here comes Bo Brunigan for some tires. Sitting back down here to Ray Farlow. Anybody else going to head to pit lane for a little bit of work on their sprint car machine, my friend?
Looks like the 12 of Jason Brown also dived in pits there, KR. Can you keep an eye on them as they roll through the pits here?
I sure am, and I'll tell you what, these guys are probably going to take some tires. Neither one will lose a lap, as I again apologize for losing out on Jim Vig's spin. But Jason Brown and Bo Bruning are taking tires. Looks like they're taking 4 tires. I don't know if they'll take fuel. It's hard to tell here. But Bo Bruning starts rolling off first. He's going to pull out in front of Jason Brown. As
I'll tell you what,
get back on track.
I'll tell you what, I was watching the 47 Dan Smith pace down the backstretch, and it looked as if he was trying to trick the field, thinking he was going to pit. He was riding that apron and that white line, and just at the last second cut up, but it looks like nobody bid on that fake of his.
So, guys, I got to tell you, we did, 70-some laps of green flag racing. These guys have done an amazing job of controlling the sprint car for 70-plus laps on one set of tires. Alright, so we're under yellow, so let's go ahead and see if we can pull Dan Smith up into the broadcast booth with us while we're pacing around. Dan Smith, you have definitely got this field under your thumb. Give us
We're getting ready to go green, man. We're getting ready to go green.
Alright, so we're going green. I'm going to move him back out. We tried, guys. We tried. We were a little slow there.
So the pace car will pull off, give the lead into the hands of Dan Smith. Alex Oriens and Ray Farlow right behind him. Off for turn number 4, green flag flies once again here at Irwindale, and a heck of a restart for Dan Smith.
Dan Smith on those 70-plus lap old tires, as well as the top 7, basically, is the only 2 cars at pit were Brunig and Jason. We know Oriens was using up his tires probably around the 30-40 lap mark to take over second over Farlow. So how much rubber does he have left on those things there, Ryan?
And I'm curious as well, and Dan Smith, of how hard does he go right now? We've got a little more than 20 laps to go. Does he try to give himself such an advantage that even if he's pretty much used up everything, the last 10 laps or so, he can just be on cruise control?
I can tell you this field will not allow Dan to put it on cruise control just yet. Nobody has lost a whole lot of time, as Alex is still only half a second behind. He's keeping Dan honest, keeping him in the gas. Maybe he can force a mistake out of Dan, and as he starts to slowly pull away from Ray.
Alex Oriens 0.7 of a second back this last time by.
We're on
sure you would have to close.
Alex, as we're looking at
Dan.
completely different lines that these two guys are running. Dan is running definitely up a lot closer to the wall than Alex. Alex is running more along the dotted white lines on the track, maybe a little bit below as he dives down, and it looks like he's closing in on him ever so slightly.
That lead is dissipating, went from 0.5 of a second now down to an even 0.4 of a second. 3 to 4 car lengths the difference this time at a 3 and 4. Smith still rolling on the high side of the speedway. Oriens down low. This time across the stripe, but the lead increases just a little bit for Dan Smith.
In these late stages here, it looks like we got a battle for the lead between Smith and Oriens. Farlow has fell back about a second behind your second place runner of Alex Oriens.
Meanwhile, the tires that Jason Brown has slapped on has allowed him to put his car currently in the top 5. Him and Bo Brunig have both managed to pass several cars now. They're 5th and 6th and fighting each other as they close in on 4th and 3rd place of Ray Farlow and William Guess.
You know, so important for Bo Brunig to get himself into a position in terms of being the points leader to make sure that he's ahead of Bruce Jones and Ray Farlow. Farlow currently runs 3rd. Brunig runs 5th. And as I say that, Bill Guess sneaks by Ray Farlow. Farlow now back to 4th.
Farlow has dropped back and is definitely under attack by Bo Brunig. Bo Brunig running right along the outside wall. Ray Farlow shut the door on him. I don't think he knew he was there. And that cost Bo a little bit of momentum. Ray, big wiggle coming off the corner, but Bo is definitely putting the pressure on him. Those fresher tires are paying off big time for Bo Brunig.
Dan Smith's advantage up here towards the front has about stayed the same, maybe fluctuated about 0.5 of a second as we come across the stripe this time. A complete lap of 88.
Whoa,
it is
3 wide off.
0.426 seconds.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Brett, but 3 wide off of turn number 4, battling for that 4th spot. 4th, 5th, and 6th, all trying to shake themselves out.
Yeah, I know you mentioned earlier there, Ryan. I know you mentioned earlier there, Ryan, about the Irwindale race this past weekend. You mentioned how, I apologize for the life of me, I can't think of his name, but he was really diamonding off those corners and shooting the apron. It looks a little bit like Jason Brown right now with those fresh tires.
Jason Brown is definitely working the bottom, but Bo Brunig is running the high side, and he's running it well as he starts to now put pressure on 3rd place of William Guess, and it really appears like those tires were the way to go for Bo Brunig as he's sitting there struggling in last to, 8th and 9th place. Now he's sitting there putting the pressure on 3rd place as he got into the wall a little bit there. Lost some momentum, but now charges in hard on William Guess. Makes the pass as William Guess gets a little sideways. William into his back tire. Bo does get into the wall again as they try and collect these cars. William Guess not giving up easy. Back up front we go. Dan Smith is currently in the lead, but Alex has definitely got some pressure on him as Bo Brunig has secured that 3rd place position.
We're closing in on 5 laps to go here, fellas. Could this get exciting here towards the end?
Exciting. Things have picked up for sure. Dan Smith is under pressure by Alex. Bo Brunig has charged from the back to the front, and Jason Brown's now sitting inside the top 5. We got 5 laps to go.
5 to go, as you mentioned there, KR this time by. Alex Oriens, I would say if he's going to make a move, he has to do it right now, because if he's got to build up some momentum, and then if he makes a big-time move like he goes to the bottom of the apron right there, and it's not paying off for him, then he's got some time to make it back up, though. Able to shave a little bit off the lead of Dan Smith that last time by. 4 to go.
Both of these cars on old tires, so if either one of them has a power move, it's going to be pure gut and grit that is going to make it happen. As that time by, he shaves the lead just a little bit, but that's not going to be enough to cut it as we come close. So I believe, looks like we're going to 2 to go here, KR, this time by.
We are on lap 98 of 100 as Alex is using below the solid white line, trying to find anything and everything to close the gap. Meanwhile, Dan Smith, solid, consistent laps. His line has not wavered all race long. It is where he wants to be, as we have now taken possibly the white flag, I believe.
I believe so.
On the white flag. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. White flag lap. Dan Smith started on the pole, led every lap so far down, and there he goes, coming out of 4, cross the line. Your winner will be Dan Smith.
From flag to flag, only one caution today here at Irwindale, and he's able to win the second annual Turkey Day Grand Prix, his second win of the season.
Proving to be an asphalt monster, the number 47 of Dan Smith brings home tonight's 100-lap Turkey Day Grand Prix JSRL Spike Chassis Sprint Car Series main event feature win. Coming across second, giving Dan a run for his money after that late yellow flag there with about 25 laps to go, was the number 9 of Alex Oriens. Also on your podium, starting from the tail in your 10th position, he will get your hard charger on the evening, going from 10th to 3rd, the number 50 of Bo Brunig. Coming across 4th was the 19 of William Guest. Guest also advancing 5 positions from 9th, his 9th starting spot. He comes across 4th. Rounding out your top 5 was the number 12 of Jason Brown. 6th through 10th looks like this: Ray Farlow, Bruce Jones, Ron Quinzel, Dan Holmes, and Jim Vig will round out your field, as he is credited with 10th position after being involved in that lap 74 yellow flag. And it looks like we got some guys here in the booth with us, Ryan.
Well, Mr. Dan Smith, we talked to you after your qualifying effort here tonight. You started on the pole and led all 100 of them. I'm not quite sure if you could see that number 9 of Alex Oriens there late, as he was giving you everything that he had. But in the end, you're able to just rail the top side of the speedway. And very, very similar to IRP a couple of weeks ago, you dominate all 100 laps here tonight and pick up your second win of the season. Congratulations.
I'll tell you what, that little ass chimp was making me nervous back there, man. He was pouring the pressure on big time. And, you know, I as the race played out and we went so long green there before that caution, you know, I thought, okay, these guys are laying back, saving something. So I was trying to put the pressure on them and put as much time between us as we could and maybe get some lap traffic in there, man. But, yeah, that caution, yeah, that made me start thinking.
Yeah, Dan, speaking of that caution, I want to go ahead and point out an error there by our one of our broadcasting brothers up here. KR, he tried to jump into your helmet there to see if we can get a word with you quick. It looks like we were a little late on that. We're glad that you kept the car together and came across for the win, but I hope KR didn't rattle you there a little bit.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'd have talked to you guys on 2 to go, but we was right down the back stretch getting ready to go green. So, yeah, but, man, Alex, gee, many crickets. And how about Bo in 3rd? I mean, hell of a top 3 here. Cars that you don't normally see up here, man.
Yeah, we're very impressed with our podium finishers here tonight, and I'll tell you what, Dan, let's go ahead before we get to the end of the race. Let's hit on the first 25 laps, or I'm sorry, first 75 laps before that yellow came out. You had a monster lead on the rest of the field, probably about half a track between you and second place. Just go ahead and run what was going through your mind at that point in time, because we know you closed in on lap traffic and you were right there when that yellow flag came out.
Well, I mean, to be honest, when at the drop of the green and when I jumped out like that, I knew exactly what their strategy was, to lay back and save. And I was letting up early. I was lifting early. I really wasn't pushing the car real hard. You know, I was trying not to slide the tires, stay in that top groove. But as I seen, to answer your question, as I seen that gap keep growing and growing and growing, and then I seen we were coming into lap traffic, I thought we had a good shot of going all green for the whole 100 laps. So my idea was I was going to try to put as many lap cars and try to keep putting time on them. That gap just kept growing. So, yeah, but when that caution came out, I thought it was all for naught, man.
I'll tell you what, Dan, that was an impressive win for you, and had we not gotten that yellow flag, it would have been even more impressive because you would have had a monster lead over second place, and we know you got a strong car. You can't always do everything by yourself. Is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout-out to?
Yeah, I sure do, man. And at the top of that list tonight is Jason Brown with JCE shock suspension. I'm not sure what he's calling it, man, but he's put in a ton of work on these cars. And it's starting to show, man. These setups are just killer on the long run, and I play around with him and we get some qualifying speed out of him. But yeah, he's got this spike chassis working really good. Same pair of Chevrolet, Performance Plus, Global Logistics, Victory Lane Racing. You know, the typical sponsors, Kenny Components. You know, all those are JSRL sponsors, Double Clutch. Hoosier Tire Midwest, and you guys up there in the booth, man, you guys are doing a hell of a job. I'm very proud of you, but Alex runs me that hard anymore, man, and I'm going to have to knock the sandwich out of his Oreo.
Well, once again, your winner tonight, the number 47 with Dan Smith. Dan, congratulations. Also, congratulations on your second win of the season. This is the second week in a row. We had a guy that won previous in the year get his second win of the year. Congratulations to Dan, and it looks like we also have Alex Orions in the booth with us. Alex, you had a pretty stout battle for second, probably about the middle of the race, and we were watching where you were running on the track, and we didn't know how much of your car you were using up, and then you got that yellow flag, and we didn't know how much you had left for Dan. So go ahead and run us what was going through your mind.
Basically exactly what you guys were thinking there. Obviously on the start I kind of dropped back to fourth there and had to really work to get past Ron for a while, and then after that to chase down Ray, and that's always a challenge. So once I got through there, I had a little bit of a gap on Ray for a minute, and then I kind of tried to play it easy to save some tires, and he caught right back up, so I had to put the hammer down again. And I had no idea what I was going to have left after that caution came.
Yeah, did the thought of getting tires ever cross your mind? I know that Dan, being he had such a big lead, I'm sure he didn't even think twice. And I don't know if you saw what I saw, but it looked like maybe he was playing some games there with the pit entrance under yellow. And looks like the guys that got yellow, I apologize, the guys that got tires towards the end actually advanced a bunch of positions, Jason Brown and Bo Brunig. But did the thought of tires ever come into your mind?
At the beginning of the race, I definitely was considering it. But I just did not want to give up the track position there under that caution with only 25 to go coming to the green. I just didn't think losing the track position was worth it at the time.
Now, Alex, we saw you charge down low below the white line, and Dan Smith was consistently never wavering. So how much searching were you planning on doing in this race before you started searching? Like, was this a plan, or were you just trying everything you could to get up to him?
Actually, it was definitely a plan. In the qualifier race, I was able to do that, and I caught up to Dan and Ray in that race from about 2 seconds back, doing that same exact line. So I kind of had that in my mind. I didn't know how much I was going to wear the tires on the 100-lap run, but I definitely was planning on that line.
Well, it looked like it was sticking a little bit, but I'm just not sure that anyone had much for Dan tonight. That guy was on rails. So congratulations on second place. And man, it was fun watching you try and figure it out.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Definitely thanks for putting on the show up there in the booth. I definitely want to thank my sponsors of Core Life Eatery, Local Toka Designs, Farlow Motorsports, and then all the JSRL guys, the Spike Chassis, Double Clutch, Sam Pierce Chevrolet, Hoosier Midwest, and Kenny Components.
That's Mr. Alex Orions. Comes home with a second place finish. Shot with a third place man, our hard charge tonight, Bo Brunig. You made a pit stop there with, about 20-25 to go. Got tires I don't know if you threw any fuel in the thing or not, but you charged from pretty much the back into a podium spot, and that's going to do nothing but increase your points lead as Bruce Jones finished back in the 7th spot. Ray Farlow finished 6th, so a good night for you in that 50 machine, Bo.
Yeah, it was. We had to pit. I'm still learning these pavement cars. I'm still not real great in them, and that fresh tires was the only chance I had to not have a bad points night. And lo and behold, it paid off in the end because it really made a difference for me. I was able to drive it pretty hard right around the top and make some passes.
We've got some guys like Dan Smith that come into the series and not running for points, not running for this or anything else, but he can go out there and just go balls to the wall for 100 laps, and you kind of had to just wait for it and not go anything that was way too over the top, take any big risks, because you know that if you were to wreck and finish in that 10th spot, that your points championship was going to be in jeopardy.
Yeah, I have the goal of, when I come to the pavement races, if I can just keep my nose clean, be somewhere around the top 5, that's a win. I'm not going to lose too many points one way or the other. But long race like this, I actually thought there'd be a couple more cautions. I don't know. I found the track to be kind of difficult. But like I said, we had that long green flag run. I mean, I wasn't going nowhere. I was about an 8th, 9th place car at best, and we decided to come down, take some tires, and see what happened. I mean, worst that happens is I don't move up any, and we ended up moving up quite a bit. So it feels like a win to me.
Anybody want to thank that helped you out here with your effort here tonight?
Yeah, well, Jason Brown and Dan, they are trying to help me critique my driving style a little bit on the pavement. Obviously, I'm a dirt guy, so just working on backing up my corners and being a little smoother through the corner and a little smoother on the throttle and just keeping your momentum up. And all those tips have really helped out a lot for me. And, and then all you guys for doing the broadcast, and Spike and Sam Pierce, Hoosier, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody else, but for putting the series on. Really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That's your 3rd place finisher and hard charger here tonight from 10th to 3rd. Bo Bruning, also your series points leader, leaving Irwindale, just as he did the Eldora Speedway last week. Bo Bruning, appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys.
Once again, Dan Smith, your winner here tonight, leads all 100 laps. Alex Oriens in 2nd. Bo Bruning, 3rd, your current series points leader and hard charger here tonight. Bill Guest, 4th. Jason Brown in 5th. He's another one along with Bruning that did pit there late. Ray Farlow, 6th, followed by Bruce Jones, Ron Quinzel, Dan Holmes on the only car to not finish the race at DNF tonight for the 17 machine of Jim Vig, Mr. Brett Strickler.
Thank you, Ryan. And tonight's JSRL Spike Chassis Turkey Day Grand Prix 100-lap event was brought to you by our following sponsors. Spike Chassis, located in Brownsburg, Indiana. Spike Chassis manufactures championship-winning open-wheel midget, wing, and non-wing sprint cars. In addition, Spike Chassis offers a large inventory of open-wheel parts, race car setup, fabrication, and machine shop services for all your winning needs. Check out #WinWithSpike or find them on the web at www.spikechassis.com. The JSRL Spike Chassis Sprint Car Series is also brought to you by Sam Pierce Chevrolet. The best Chevy deals are in the country. Visit sampiercechevrolet.com to check out their inventory. Also on board with us here at the JSRL Spike Chassis Sprint Car Series is Kenny's Components. Kenny's Components specializes in design consultation, engineering, production, and custom fabrication to meet your exact specifications and needs. Using advanced composites such as carbon fiber, Kevlar, and fiberglass, Kenny's is dedicated to building high-quality composite products for all type of racing machines. Find them on the web at www.kennyscomponents.com. Bringing you the best tires in the business, Hoosier Tire Midwest. Hoosier Tire Midwest Incorporated is the largest Hoosier racing tire distributor in the United States, serving the Midwest through warehouses in Indianapolis and Plymouth, Indiana, and Springfield, Illinois. From drag strips, road courses, and oval tracks, dirt and asphalt, sprint cars, midgets, late models, and even street cars, Hoosier Tire Midwest has winning tires for all your needs. Check them out on the web at www.racetires.com.
Thank you very much, Brett Strickler. A big thank you as well to all of our sponsors there, as you just mentioned. Mr. Jason Brown, you got to run here tonight, and also KR Stolfus. Guys, anything else before we wrap this one up?
Man, I'll tell you what, only having the one caution there really, really threw me for a loop. I was expecting to have a few more, especially as the cars wore out, the tires wore out, the fuel load burned off. But it just goes to show you the talent level that is in this series. Nobody crashed. Nobody crashed when we expected it. Alright, I just crashed and burned, but that's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
Well, KR, you tripping over your tongue a little bit there.
Used to doing that on the racetrack.
It is. But you know what? I'll tell you what. It's exciting watching these guys. We did 100 laps here at Irwindale Speedway. Our race winner did not make a pit stop. Meanwhile, Bo Brunig, who was running at the back of the pack, struggling, made that pit stop under yellow. Him and Jason Brown, with those fresh tires, they did manage to make their way back up, had a big gain from that pit stop. So a lot of that strategy did come in, but it just goes to show you how strong Dan Smith was tonight, that even with fresher tires of Bo and Jason, they still could not catch him and Alex.
Yeah, Ryan, I think KR is a little bit, still a little bit rattled by our pre-race, looks like maybe our pre-race tradition of getting a little broadcaster battle early on, and KR ended up in the fence once or twice as we did a private race ourselves. But anyway, the main winner tonight, the number 47 of Dan Smith. Congratulations goes out to the number 47 and his team. Also on the podium, Alex Horians and Bo Brunig. And fellas, I'll tell you what, it looked like a good race tonight. I feel like we definitely got another show on the asphalt here at KR.
It was, and you know what? With that, I'm willing to wrap this up, guys. I enjoyed broadcasting with you tonight. Special thank you to Ryan Kent, who struggled through tonight as he was quite ill. And guys, Brett, Ryan, I appreciate the efforts y'all do, and I look forward to next time.
Well, guys, if you don't have anything else for on behalf of all of us with the JSRL Spike Chassis Sprint Car Series, KR Stolfus, Jason Brown, our broadcast partner, Brett Strickler, I'm Ryan Kent Jr. Thanks for joining us from the Irwindale Speedway. We head east next week on the dirt 30 laps to Williams Grove Speedway. I guess it's time to pitch a tent in the backyard of Brett Strickler. Till then, we'll see you. Good night from California here in the Irwindale Speedway.